your intelligence turned against you. Right now, as you're watching this video, your brain is doing something that less intelligent people's brains simply don't do. It's creating elaborate scenarios, analyzing potential outcomes, and running mental simulations of everything that could go wrong. And here's the kicker: the smarter you are, the more detailed and terrifying these mental movies become. If you've ever wondered why you can solve complex problems at work but can't stop your mind from spiraling at 2 a.m. about something you said 3 years ago, this video will change everything you thought you knew about intelligence and anxiety. Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to share something with you that might sound counterintuitive at first, but stick with me because the research is absolutely mind-blowing. We have been told our whole lives that intelligence is this amazing superpower, and it is. But nobody talks about its dark side. Nobody talks about how the same cognitive abilities that make you excellent at your job, that help you understand complex concepts, and that make you the person everyone comes to for advice are the same exact abilities that can trap you in cycles of anxiety that feel impossible to escape. Today, we are diving deep into the hidden connection between intelligence and anxiety. We'll explore why smart people often struggle more with worry, overthinking, and mental loops than their peers. But more importantly, we'll talk about what you can do about it. Because understanding this connection isn't just fascinating, it's liberating. Let's start with a question that might hit close to home. Have you ever noticed that some of the most successful, intelligent people you know also seem to be the most anxious? Your brilliant colleague who can analyze market trends like a prophet but has a panic attack before every presentation? Your friend who has graduated on top can't make a restaurant reservation without rehearsing the conversation 5 times? This isn't coincidence. This is what researchers call the intelligence anxiety paradox. And it's backed by some seriously compelling science. Multiple studies have shown a consistent correlation between higher IQ scores and increased rates of anxiety disorders. One landmark study published in the journal Intelligence found that people with IQs above 130 were significantly more likely to experience generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety, and even specific phobias. But here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just that smart people happen to be more anxious. The very cognitive processes that make someone intelligent are the same processes that, when left unchecked, create and maintain anxiety. Your brain's superpower has become its own kryptonite. Think about what happens when you face a problem. If you're intelligent, your brain immediately springs into action. It starts analyzing, categorizing, predicting, and problem solving. This is fantastic when you're dealing with a math equation or trying to figure out why your code isn't working. But what happens when your brain applies this same intense analytical power to social situations, future possibilities, or past mistakes? Welcome to Overthinking Hell. Your intelligent brain takes a simple social interaction. Let's say you said hello to someone and they seemed distracted. And it goes to work. Why didn't they smile back? Did I say something wrong yesterday? Are they upset with me? What if they are talking to other people about me? What if this affects my reputation? What if? And before you know it, you have constructed an entire narrative about relationship problems, career implications, social rejection, all for someone being distracted for 2 seconds. The less intelligent brain, it processes interaction much more simply. They seem busy, oh well, and moves on. This is what psychologists call cognitive elaboration. Your brain's ability to make complex connections and see multiple layers of meaning is incredible when applied to legitimate problems. But when applied to ambiguous social situations or uncertain future events, it becomes a torture device. Now let's talk about neuroticism, because this is where things get really fascinating. Neuroticism is one of the big 5 personality traits, and it's essentially your tendency to experience negative emotions like anxiety, worry, and emotional instability. And guess what? There's a strong correlation between your intelligence and neuroticism. But why? Why would being smart make you more prone to negative emotions? The answer lies in something called emotional granularity. Intelligent people don't just feel anxious. They feel 17 different subtypes of anxiety, each with its own flavor, intensity, and set of associated thoughts. Where someone else might feel worried, you feel anticipatory dread mixed with imposter syndrome and a dash of existential uncertainty. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Emotional granularity can lead to a better emotional regulation and more nuanced understanding of your inner world. It can also mean that you experience anxiety in high definition 4K while others experience it in grainy black and white. Every emotion hits harder, lasts longer, and comes out with a full philosophical analysis of what it means about you as a person. Here's another way your intelligence works against you. Pattern recognition. Your brain is incredibly good at spotting patterns, making connections, and predicting outcomes based on past data. This is why you're good at your job, why you can read between the lines in conversations, and why you often see things coming before others do. But your pattern recognition system doesn't distinguish between useful patterns and anxiety-inducing ones. It's constantly scanning for potential threats, potential embarrassments, potential failures. And because your brain is so good at pattern recognition, it finds them everywhere. You walk into a room and immediately notice that two people stopped talking when you entered. Your pattern recognition system kicks in. This is similar to that time in high school when people were talking about me behind my back. And that time at my last job when I found out people were questioning my competence. This must mean they were talking about me. This must mean something is wrong. A less analytical brain might notice the pause in conversation and not think much of it. Your brain notices it, categorizes it, connects it to past experiences, and creates a whole anxiety narrative around it. Let's talk about one of the most torturous aspects of intelligent, anxious mind: mental simulation. Your brain is essentially running constant background simulations of possible futures, and most of them are terrible. You have a job interview next week. Your brain doesn't just think, "I hope it goes well." It runs full simulations. You imagine walking into the building, getting lost, being late, stumbling your words, giving a wrong answer, seeing the interviewer's disappointed face, not getting the job, running out of money, becoming homeless, disappointing your family. And these aren't just fleeting thoughts. These are vivid, detailed mental movies complete with dialogue, emotions, and sensory details. Your brain's ability to imagine and simulate is so powerful that your body responds as these scenarios are actually happening. Your heart rate increases, your stomachs churn, all for events that exist only in your imagination. This is what researchers call anticipatory anxiety, and intelligent people experience it intensely because their mental simulations are more detailed and realistic. You're not just worried about the interview going badly. You can practically smell the stale coffee in the waiting room and feel the uncomfortable silence after you give a weak answer. Intelligence often comes with high standards for yourself and others. This sounds positive, and in many ways it is. It drives excellence, innovation, and achievement. Also creates what psychologists call maladaptive perfectionism. And here's how it works. Because you're intelligent, you can see all the ways something could be better. You can spot flaws, inefficiencies, and missed opportunities that others miss. This makes you excellent at improving systems, solving problems, and producing high-quality work. But it also means you're never satisfied. You write an email, and before sending it, you notice 17 different ways it could be misinterpreted. You give a presentation, and instead of celebrating the positive feedback, you fixate on that one moment when you stumbled over a word. You complete a project successfully, but all you can think about are the small improvements you could have made. This perfectionism creates a constant state of low-level anxiety because nothing is ever good enough. Your intelligent brain can always see the gap between what is and what could be, and that gap feels like failure. Intelligent people often struggle more with social anxiety, and there is a specific reason for this. They are processing social situations at a much deeper level than necessary. When you're in a social situation, your brain is running multiple analyses simultaneously. You're reading facial expressions, analyzing tone of voice, interpreting body language, considering subtext, remembering past interactions with each person. predicting how your words will be received, adjusting your behavior based on group dynamics, and monitoring your own performance in real time. Meanwhile, the person next to you is just having a conversation. This social hyper-analysis is exhausting and it often leads to paralysis. You become so aware of all the ways the interaction could go wrong that you struggle to be natural and spontaneous. You're like a chess player trying to see 15 moves ahead in a game where everyone else is just moving pieces and having fun. Intelligent people also tend to grapple more with what philosophers call existential anxiety, worry about meaning, purpose, mortality, and the big questions of existence. This isn't necessarily a flaw. Some of the greatest thinkers in history have wrestled with these questions, but it can be a source of ongoing anxiety. Your brain's ability to think abstractly and consider complex philosophical concepts means you're more likely to have those 3 a.m. moments where you're lying in bed thinking about the heat of death of the universe, the meaninglessness of daily routines, or whether you're wasting your life. Less analytical minds might have these thoughts occasionally, but they don't tend to get stuck on them. Your brain, however, can spiral into hours of long eternal debates about free will, the nature of consciousness, and whether anything you do really matters in the grand scheme of things. Before we talk about solutions, I want to acknowledge something important. Your anxious intelligence isn't just a curse. Many of the traits that contribute to anxiety also contribute to success, creativity, and deep understanding. Your tendency to overthink. It also helps you spot problems before others do, prepare thoroughly for challenges, and come up with creative solutions. Your emotional sensitivity. It makes you empathetic, intuitive about others' needs, and capable of creating deep connections. Your ability to see potential problems. It makes you an excellent planner and risk manager. The goal isn't to become less intelligent or less sensitive. The goal is to learn how to direct these powerful cognitive abilities in ways that serve you rather than trap you. So what can you do about this? How do you harness intelligence without being destroyed by it? First, recognize your anxiety often comes from applying analytical thinking to problems that can't be solved analytically. Social situations, future uncertainties, and past mistakes often fall into this category. When you catch yourself overthinking these areas, remind yourself, this is not a problem that more thinking will solve. Second, practice what psychologists call cognitive diffusion. Instead of believing every thought your brain produces, start observing your thoughts like cloud passing in the sky. I notice I'm having the thought that everyone at the party thinks I'm boring. This small shift creates distance between you and your anxious thoughts. Third, set thinking time limits. Give yourself 15 minutes to analyze a social interaction or worry about a future event, then deliberately move your attention to something else. Your brain will resist this at first, but with practice, it becomes easier. Fourth, channel your analytical abilities into areas where they are actually helpful. Instead of analyzing why someone seemed distracted when you said hello, analyze a work problem, plan a project, or research something you're genuinely curious about. Fifth, practice accepting uncertainty. This is perhaps the hardest thing for an intelligent, anxious brain to do, but it's crucial. Not everything can be figured out, predicted, or controlled. And that's not a failure of your intelligence. It's just the reality. Here's something that might sound counterintuitive. Mindfulness meditation can be particularly powerful for intelligent, anxious people. Not because it makes you less intelligent, but because it teaches you when to use your intelligence and when to let it rest. Mindfulness isn't about emptying your mind. That's impossible and unnecessary. It's about becoming aware of where your attention is and learning to direct it intentionally. When you notice your brain starting to spiral into anxious analysis, mindfulness gives you the ability to step back and choose whether this thinking is helpful or harmful. Think of it like learning to drive a powerful sports car. The car isn't the problem. Its power is actually wonderful when you know how to control it. But if you don't know how to use the brakes or steering wheel, that power becomes dangerous. Mindfulness teaches you how to be the driver of your intelligent brain rather than its passenger. Finally, I want to leave you with a different way of thinking about your anxiety. Instead of seeing it as a flaw or weakness, try seeing it as information. Your anxiety often contains useful data about your values, your boundaries, and your needs. If you're anxious about a social situation, maybe it's because connection and acceptance are deeply important to you. If you're worried about your performance at work, maybe it's because excellence and contribution matter to you. If you're concerned about the future, maybe it's because you care deeply about people and things in your life. Your anxiety isn't random. It's connected to what matters most to you, and while the intensity might be uncomfortable, the underlying care and concern reflects some of your best qualities. Here's what I want you to remember. Your intelligence hasn't turned against you. Your brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do: analyze, predict, and problem solve. The issue isn't with your brain. It's with applying these powerful tools to the wrong problems at the wrong times. You don't need to become less intelligent to become less anxious. You need to become more intentional about how you use your intelligence. You need to learn when to think and when to feel, when to analyze and when to accept, when to prepare and when to trust that you'll figure out as you go. Your anxious intelligence is not a bug in your system. It's a feature that needs better management. And with the right strategies, you can keep all the benefits of your analytical mind while freeing yourself from its anxious tyranny. The goal isn't to quiet your brilliant mind. The goal is to make it work for you instead of against you. And that, my friend, is not just possible. It's exactly what your intelligent brain is capable of figuring out. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content about the fascinating intersection of psychology and personal growth. And remember, your intelligence is a gift, even when it doesn't feel like one.